what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we are doing the last of the threat hunting path, and that is threat hunting endgame. So we're moving our way through the SOC level 2 path, and I am going to try and speed these up, meaning I'm going to try to get you more of them. I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 a week versus the 1, because normally I do 1 video a week because usually I have to prep and do some stuff, and these ones are already, it's already built for me. And since we're trying to do this SOC level 2 path, I'm going to try and speed them up. So let's go ahead and start diving into it. Without further ado, guys, let's get finished with the threat hunting. Now, one thing I want to mention is I appreciate you guys subscribing, and it helps out tremendously. But if you guys want to see more content, we have the Patreon below. The Patreon does give you over 100 more videos. It gives you one-on-ones with me. It gives you study sessions, resume reviews, mock interviews, and we just recently added a happy hour on there monthly. So once a month we get together, we have a happy hour with all Patreon members. So check out the Patreon below if you guys want to support the channel even more. If not, the free version of the Patreon does have a few videos, and I try to upload 1 video a month or something like that, but the other one gets extra videos a week, so the paid version does. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, we've covered most of the threat hunting. So if this is the first video you've come to for threat hunting, go back and watch the other ones so that you are kind of caught up to speed. We're going to be using elk here, and you can see it said the Kibana server wasn't ready yet, so we'll try and see if that's ready. Still looks like it's not ready, so that's fine. We'll let that run. So what are we doing now? Well, we now know how to threat hunt, right? So now they're walking us through a scenario where we actually are going to threat hunt. Now, one thing I want to talk about here is they're going to talk about the action on objectives, which is the end game, right? It's the last part of the kill chain. If you guys don't know the kill chain, the last thing you do is action on objective, meaning what was your actual goal, right? And that's what we're going to talk about here, is catching them in their goal. So if you've missed everything up to this point, you can still catch them when they're trying to exfil data or do things like that. Do the actual action. So if you don't know, depending on which study you look at, the attackers usually in your network for about 6 months. Some studies say it's like 9 to 10 months. Just depends on somewhere in that spectrum before they do this action on objectives. So what that means is you could have someone in your network, and you have to operate in the capacity of you think someone's in your network right now, and you have to catch them before they get to this action on objectives. And the reason attackers do that, because I get that question a lot, is because they're actually doing recon, prepping the attack. They see everything in your environment. They're building a mock simulation, and this is for APTs, not for like just a regular attacker, but they're prepping for the big one, right? For the big attack. But so threat hunting and MITRE ATT&CK. So we talk about MITRE ATT&CK all the time on this channel. If you guys don't know what MITRE ATT&CK is, definitely go check it out. One of the best threat intels sources out there. But they're talking about doing threat hunting specifically for MITRE ATT&CK. And in this case, you can see we're doing the tactic of collection, exfil, and impact are the 3 that we're going to cover. But they're talking about doing the MITRE ATT&CK tactics specifically. So what that means is you think XYZ happens, right? That could be based on intel you got from your cyber intelligence team, could be based on a lot of things. You get that intel from somebody, whether it's an alert coming in, whether it's your intel team, whether it's a third party reaching out, whatever the case is. You're getting this intel, and then you're going to go and use that intel to do a threat hunt. And the intel we got here is that we think this attacker is using this technique, or this tactic, excuse me. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to take that tactic and we're going to map it specifically to how we hunt. And this is what MITRE's built for, in my opinion. I mean, it's built for a lot of things, but this is, it's case in point. I think this attacker's attacking me. Here's what they do. Let me check my environment for it. It's that simple sometimes. Now, some of these, with the MITRE ATT&CK, you can automate. So I would recommend looking into automation for a lot of these, but so now you have unified kill chain in the action on objectives phase. So this is what we already talked about. The action on objective is the last phase. We already are doing that. So proactive threat hunting mindset approach. So this is something that you can't teach, and this is where you have to just start now as you're getting into the industry. If you're going to go into security, proactively thinking. You have to always be proactive. If you are sitting there just clicking the same buttons every day, you are useless, because I can hire anybody to do that. I need somebody that's proactively thinking all the time, right? So that includes threat hunting. So the proactive threat hunting mindset refers to actively hunting the process and seeking out potential threats. So this is you going, hey, I want to search for this, even though I have maybe no reason to believe it's here, but I want to make sure. I want to proactively be checking things, right? So the utmost aim of the proactive approach is identifying threats before they cause significant damage. So maybe you saw an alert come in six weeks ago, whatever, and you're like, hey, that alert had this weird, or had this one thing, and that's linked, or that's actually an indicator of an APT. I don't know that's an APT. It could just be someone kind of just trying an opportunistic attack, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to proactively go check all the other indicators that APT has, right? That's the proactive approach. So active exploration, hypothesis-driven approach. So this one is big, but because what we just talked about is hypothesis-driven, right? I think this, so I'm going to prove it with this. It's a scientific approach. It's you have a hypothesis of what you think is going on in your network. You need to prove it, right? Active exploration. This is something you can't teach either. You can't teach people to want to learn, and that means in your environment. If I have an analyst that is every day being like, dude, this SOAR is awesome. Let's just absolutely, I just want to dive in and build stuff, right? I am going to let that guy or girl, go and build whatever he wants. I don't care if it even helps me. Why? Because he is stimulating his mind and critical thinking and being proactive, and maybe he fails 10 times and gets these workflows that do really nothing, but he's going to make a workflow that is helpful. I promise you that, because he's enjoying it. He's loving his work, right? Now, hypothesis-driven approach. This is where you have a hypothesis. Continuous monitoring. This should be some of your threat hunts should be automated, right? If a new hash comes out for a new file or something, right? New malware, whatever, you should have that automatically threat hunting through your environment and checking, right? And not just checking current, what's on your machines currently, but check previous logs. That's what threat hunting should be, right? Because if a hash didn't alert today, but tomorrow it alerts, well, if you check every machine, yeah, you might delete it and remove it, but how long has it been on machines before, right? So that's the that continuous monitoring. Leveraging threat intelligence, we talked about that. Analytics and continuous improvement. That's a big one. If you guys don't know, and we're not going to cover that in this because that's more of a leadership issue, not so much of a threat hunting, but you need to have good analytics around your threat hunts. If you don't, you just wasted your time. Why? Because what if you do find a threat hunt and you say, hey, we found this and we know how to prevent it. If you can't portray that properly and demonstrate that to the leadership, it won't change. So you just wasted your time, because yeah, you might have kicked that person out. They're going to come right back in because you didn't fix anything. All right. Then last but not least, atomic hints. Okay. It's always crucial to consider characteristics, unique factors in operated industry, specific threat landscape, and regulatory requirements. So if you guys are new and you don't know what any of that means, that's fine. What they're saying is each environment is unique and you have to treat it as such. You have to know what do stakeholders want. Stakeholders could be anybody that has a stake in what you're doing, right? And you have to know what they want. What is their goal? Because if their goal and your goal don't align, you're not going to get anywhere. So they're saying each environment has its own unique characteristics, its own things, right? Maybe you know that there's something in this environment that's incorrect proper usage, right? Like, so maybe someone's using their account incorrectly or using a service account incorrectly or something, and you know that, but it's an accepted risk, right? Well, if you're sitting there threat hunting and you're like, I found it, this is happening. If you know that, then why waste the time of trying to proactively look at that, right? So you have to know your environment to do very good threat hunts. You don't have to, but it will tremendously improve your threat hunting. The hunting and evaluation approaches may vary by the implementer's experience. That's true, and the implementation field, because the way you threat hunt on a SCADA system is not the same way you're going to threat hunt on an enterprise corporate environment, right? The foundation mindset should always be the same. Seek, detect, and eradicate. So get the benefits of leveraging threat intelligence and MITRE ATT&CK mapping when it is possible and available. So you need to, if you have intelligence that can help you on a threat hunt, use it. Use it. use it. I can't say it enough. I see people all the time. They won't even go look for it. They'll be like, well, I'm going to do a threat hunt. Okay, here's the MITRE ATT&CK framework, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but did you do any intelligence gathering? Nothing? Okay, so you're just spraying in the wind, right? That's not how you should do threat hunts. It's possible, but you're just basically guessing. It's not really thought through and planned out. Following and identifying specific frameworks steps might sometimes be overwhelming. All right, and it's saying still it is always possible to start with a customized approach and collaborate with team members and responsible authorized stakeholders. So yes, you should always be collaborating. If you're doing threat hunts solo, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but you want to collaborate as much as possible. Okay, so now tools, tool set, and hints. So you can see we're going to use elk, which if we go here, it should be up now. So we're just using elastic is what it looks like to same thing we were using in the previous ones. The data sets, there's 3 unique data sets, right, for each task, okay? Windows native logging capabilities is supported for further auditing with Sysmon. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and log into this. And here's one thing that I can't teach, excuse me, but is super vital. And I'm going to zoom in for you guys a little bit so that you guys, I know someone said in some of my previous videos that the elastic specifically was a little bit small. So I want to make sure I try to make it as big as I can for you guys. Okay, and looks like show dates. They might give us the dates here, but so available log sources, we have security, Sysmon, PowerShell, and then we have, that's for one case, for the exfiltration case, for the impact case. Okay, so we've got 3 different cases. We're going to treat them all a little separate. All right, and now we're into the tactic collection. So if you guys aren't familiar with anything, one thing I can't teach, and I started this sentence, I didn't finish it, but one thing I can't teach is I can't teach people when they're going through this to go, what is TA0009? Let me look, and then go to MITRE and check it out and read about it. And I can't teach that curiosity. So if you're sitting here and you're one of those people that just go through these boxes and you're never researching the stuff that you're not really familiar with, you're never digging in, you're never being proactive, can't teach that. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean you're going to not succeed. It means everyone that's doing that is going to pass you at some point, because curiosity, consistency, persistence, that is what gets you successful in this career. So yeah, you can skate by or be even fairly successful just because you're working hard or whatever, but you're never going to be as successful as somebody that truly has the mindset and the ambition. Okay, so if you look, TA0009 is a set of techniques used or could be used by adversaries to gather valuable data. Data that can be exploited, pivoting, privilege escalation data, blah, blah, all that stuff, right? We can read this all day long. Commonly used in techniques are listed below. Man in the middle, ARP, LLMNR spoofing or poisoning, which is man in the middle, SMB relay, DHCP spoofing, hijacking, traffic dump, key logging, and this is the one they're going to be focusing on. Input capture, data collection. The table below summarizes the common tactics. So you can see exactly what it's saying, right? It's collection. We are collecting. That's what we're doing. So with key logging, you're collecting key logs. If you're doing LLMNR poisoning, you're collecting probably credentials. If you're a man in the middle, you're probably collecting information that they're using for, whatever transmission you're in the middle of, right? So here we're using the hunting key logging. So in this case, example demonstrating a hunt exercise for keylogging activity. The mini scenario is a hunting a keylogger activity triggered by an abusive admin account or an attacker who gains an admin shell session. So note that the pre and post activities are not within this hunt. So we're just sticking to just the keylogging portion. We're not looking at how the attacker got in. We're not looking at how what the attacker did after that. We're just looking at the keylog, right? If you don't know what a keylogger is, it records your keystrokes. Simple. You're typing, it's capturing everything you're doing and sending it somewhere. Key logging with API and function calls and common calls, are listed below. So here is some of the common API calls that key logging is going to be doing, and this is what they're looking at for the logging, right? Because that's what's integrated with the Windows API execution. Hooks, right? So key logging with low-level hooks, common hooks are listed below. So if I'm looking for a keylogger with common hooks, here you go. So now what we can do, you can see case index is case collection, and if we look right here, case collection, we're on the right one. And you can see last 15 years. So they just put forever, basically. So we'll say not absolute, relative years ago, not from now. There we go. 15 years ago, we'll update that, and then we'll get 7,944 hits. So now we're at least looking at the right stuff, right? And let me know if this is too small for you guys still in the comments below. Also, again, check out the Patreon. It's got a lot more content that's not just Tryhackme. It's a lot more serious content. There's also a Linux course in there that I built a while ago for you guys for very beginners. So if you're new to Linux. Okay, so starting with the given scenario, they're looking at for exactly these, right? They're looking for get keyboard state, set Windows hooks, all that stuff, right? They're literally looking for just every one of those indicators. So we're going to go here, and we're literally just taking these API executions and searching for them. We're going to paste it. I'm going to hit enter. Thank you. Refresh that bad boy. And it's loading, but it's very slow, right? And you can see as we go through it, we're going to get a few things. Now, one way we can actually filter that, here we go. Okay, thank you. One thing we could do is filter these columns. So they want WinLog channels. Here's WinLog channel. You add that column, right? So now you get what's going on. Then what was it? WinLog event data path. And this is why it's really important to know your environment, because if you don't know what log collectors look like as far as in your environment, because almost every log event is going to have some sort of different unique title, name, whatever. You can usually get the gist of it. It might say like this, computer name, but if you don't know it's winlog.computer name, you might be searching forever. And the only way to know that is to know your environment, because you need to know what sources you're ingesting. So winlog event data script block text. It's not on here. So we got to actually go here, script block text. There we go. All right. So now you can see we actually have what is running, and then the actual text for the script. So if we go through them, right here, you see that we've got a common one, right? The virtual key code, right? And these other two have something. We just don't see it right now, but we can drop these down if we want to see what's actually triggered. But these are the ones we're focused on right now, is this virtual key code, which is a known API for Windows for the keylogger. So what does that tell us? Well, if you look right here, this says Chrome update underscore API.ps1 in the temp file. Well, that right there automatically gives me not a warm and fuzzy, right? A temp file written, a PowerShell script written in the temp file for Chrome update under the admin doesn't sound good. So right there, I'm probably going to say, hey, this is weird, right? And so now we've identified something. We don't know what yet, but we know it's something, right? And so now what we need to do is look for that specific actual file, right? If I can get this, there we go. So now we're going to say, hey, show me anywhere that's running, because you can see there's the Chrome update PS1. It looks like they had a Chrome database one as well. Come on. It's so slow. I'm clicking and then it'll get highlighted and then I click again. All right. There we go. Update it. Let it run for a little bit. There we go. And you can see, hey, look, someone on PowerShell, cat Chrome local profile database. All right. So what does that mean? Sorry, I'm drinking so much, guys. I'm finally getting over sickness. So, okay. So the previous results show that a suspicious PowerShell file is downloaded using wget. Well, we didn't see that yet, or at least I didn't. Maybe we did, and I missed it. There it is, right there. wget. Random IP, so right there, that would be an indicator. Port 9000 would be weird. It wouldn't be weird to go to a random port like that. It would be weird to specify it in a URL with wget unless you are expecting that. right? Out file, Chrome update, blah, blah. Okay, so we see that that's how they got it. So we've identified how it got there anyway. They said it's that the activity before isn't important, but we at least now identified how it got there. We can block that IP. We can block our firewall unless we have a reason to. Any external reaching out to port 9000, we can start blocking a lot of this stuff and start identifying who is actually targeting us, right? So right off this is what's crazy about threat hunting that I love about it, right? Is in a matter of 2 commands, yes, we identified the attack. That's fine. I don't really care because, you know, I could have identified that a lot of ways. But what I identified was the indicators that I can stop this attack, right? IP, port, right? And if you look at the pyramid of pain, those are the low ends, right? That means we're not going to cause the attacker much. But now I can go through that Chrome API call or file, excuse me, and start looking at, hey, what can I actually look through here and start blocking that? And then go through deeper and deeper into this attack, and you can start just completely shredding this attack. And then when the attacker comes back, they're just going to move on because you're too difficult to get through, right? At least for this attack. So, all right, so then it says this result gives more insight into the database file. The cat command is used. Yep, so they listed the file. So it may be possible to see the contents of the cat database file and discover the logged keystrokes. So let's go ahead and go to the cat command, and we can say, there we go, view surrounding documents. And what we want to see here is we want to see the logs around it to see what actually was in that file, right? Okay, so we viewed surrounding documents, and then you can see they actually, yeah, we know what the surrounding documents does. We've done that in the past. It just shows 5 above and 5 below that alert. As the command output is not directly, this is why we focus on the executed command time and payload. Now the contents of the key are visible. Okay, so we've got this, right? This is the command, so it should be the one after it that would display it, but we don't know that for sure. Let's see. Nope, that wasn't it. And let's see which one they actually, so they're doing, oh, they have it say load 10. That's why. So we have it set to 5. We need to load 10. There we go. Okay. Load it up. There we go. Okay. So this one says empty. All right. That one's empty for some reason. Looks like it's the third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But for some reason we're not seeing it, so let's see. Make sure cat Chrome, make sure we got the right one. Yep, we got the right one. Let's load. Maybe I have this I could have this backwards. Nope, that one's empty too. Okay, what other filters they have? Payload. Okay, we got to add the payload. Yep, we don't have the payload. So we want to get up. Add filter. I'm not even going to do that because I can just do this. So fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can just look at this. There's your payload. Console, PowerShell, da-da-da. There's your payload right there. Get content, Chrome local profile. So we can just go through these until we find the one with the actual payload in it. But you could just add the filter for the payload. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that should theoretically be our, and there you go. So what is our actual command prompt? Well, if you look at it, we've got there how to open incognito tab. So it's someone Googling, I'm assuming. Then they have their Gmail. And then look, huntedvictim2323@gmail.com. And then here is your whole password. So now they say, what is the process ID of the process that downloads the malicious script? Oh, the wget. Let's see if we Probably should have answered this before so we didn't have to go back. We can just do this. Let's answer the next question so that we don't have to come back again. What is the logged mail account? Hunted right there. I don't know why it's got 2 dots there. There we go. I have no idea why it's doing this. Gmail. Maybe that second dot's needed. I don't really know what's going on. Okay, it's just hunted victim 2323 Gmail. Oh, there's no at, that's why. At gmail.com. Hunted 23 hunted victim 2323 at gmail.com. Unauthorized. What does that even mean? Okay, welcome back, guys. I have no idea why it just randomly logged me out, but it did. So now we've got to go back. So what is the process ID of the process that downloads the malicious scripts? Well, we've got to go back to Discover, and we've got to take the where's it at? Right here. And we got to get the process ID of the wget command. All right. So we scroll down here. All right, we got to add the filters again. So we got to add the script block text, process ID. Let's see if that's enough. Yep, there's wget, process ID 3388. There you go. Okay. No idea why that happened. That was really weird. I've never had that happen, actually. So as you can see, we just did basic search for these indicators, which were the API calls for Windows, to basically the common ones for keyloggers, and we found them. So then we looked and we saw that, hey, they used wget to download a Chrome PS1 file, and that was a keylogger. So then we were able to dump the exfil, or dump the keylogger or view the log that dumped it, excuse me, and we could see which password and user account was actually dumped. That would be something we'd go back and, hey, we need to change this user's password. We need to probably quarantine them till we figure out our investigation to make sure, but move on from there. Okay, so now we're in the exfil stage. So we did the collection. Now they got to exfil it, right? So commonly used techniques are traffic duplication, data transfer over alternative protocols, data transfer over encrypted channels, C2, exfiltration over web services, and exfiltration over Bluetooth and portable devices. So here's our case, and the reason I'm not reading these are actually the tactics. That's this right here, the TA0010. You can go to MITRE and read that anytime you want. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so the case example we're looking at is data exfil over ICMP. So the case example demonstrates a hunting exercise for data exfiltration over ICMP. The mini scenario is hunting data exfil over ICMP traffic channels. Yep. So command execution and file access activity, common callers. This is pretty common, right? You've got your ping, your IP config, all that stuff. You can, if you do it correctly, right, you can exfil data with a lot of these if you know what you're doing. So obviously we need to search for them. Now, I will tell you, in a real environment, using this command right here where you're searching for all of them, you're probably going to get a lot. You're probably going to get a lot. And that's because any admin is probably using some of those. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. So I would refine it. This is where we're talking about knowing your environment. Refine it to what you know in your environment is not used as often and go from there, right? Okay, so once this actually updates, okay, so nothing, we probably have to change the data. So case index is case exfiltration. So we got to change that to exfiltration. There we go. And now we should see it, right? Okay, so, and as we go through, here they're just showing one, but I'm sure there's more than one. Nope, there's just one. Okay, so you don't even need to change the columns here because there's only one to view. So you go through here and you look at what's actually going on, and the computer name would be something you'd look at first. And we just look, okay, cool. So yeah, you can see right here is the actual payload. Ping equals new object system network da da da. Okay, cool, thank you. So there's one hit. Now let's continue hunting with the detected system. So you can see they want to check this because that's what they said. Hey, ping, this is what I want you to be now, right? So the attacker actually set ping, and now we're going to say, hey, system network information.ping. That's what we're looking for. And you notice they're putting the wildcards after all these. It's because if you mess up any sort of text even a little bit, or if it's not exact, it will still find it. That's what they're doing that for. Note that we filtered the following column to reveal if any executable file is involved in suspicious activity. Okay, thank you. So the winlog event data path. So what they're looking at here is this. Did it update? Okay, it did. We just have this one still open. The winlog, what I say it was, winlog event data path. Event data path. So they added this to see if it's with any suspicious content. And you can see right here, admin apt it again, local temp. You guys can't see that. I'll try and move out of your way here. There you go. You can see right here. So that's just the location that it's in, and you can see it's in the temp file again, or temp directory again, icmp4 data.ps1. So pretty much anything, the indicators are pretty much there, right? Is, hey, we notice right away that there's, written to the temp directory. They're changing the ping. And then if you actually look at what they're doing, it says here, get content path F1, encode it, read it, and then ping send. So they're going to send this IP, the chunk size, and the data out. So they're using ping to send data out. That's what they're doing. Pretty simple. And you can see using the option might have a good insight into the script. Let's run the following query. So now they want us to see what is all associated with this file that they're running, the PS1 file. And you can see it's pretty much just following the breadcrumbs, right? You started with looking for any of those things. You found a ping being manipulated. So then you said, okay, let me check for ping specifically. You found that, and you found that this script, ICMP4 data, is calling it, right? And then you said, okay, I see that that's happening. Let me take it a step further and actually look for the ICMP4 data specifically. And you can see here, they have for when script log text. Well, right there you can see it's the Chrome log profile database, so it's a continuation of the attack. They collected the keystrokes here, and they're using this PS1 to actually exfil the keystrokes is what it looks like to me. So let's see if that's what they're asking for. Yeah, I think that's what they're asking for. Yep. The query returns the precise results to the end of the hunt. Yep. So what was the total number of sent ICMP packets? I think it was 6. No, it's not 6. Of sent ICMP packets. Sent where? I'm trying to understand what they're asking here. And I could be just not understanding the question, but total number of ICMP packets sent. I'm going to have to use a hint on this one because I'm not really sure what they're asking. I'm not sure if they're asking how many packets did we find, or like, are we supposed to search for ICMP? Oh, they just want to know from that. Okay. So, and that's why it gets confusing, because if you're talking about total number of ICMP packets, I mean, we'd have to search for ICMP, which we didn't. They're talking about just from this. And then we can update that, refresh it, let it load here. According to this, it's only 5. So But this says that's not right. So it says here, PS ICMP activity can be found with that. Yep, we did that. Is 05 work? Is follows the answer format represented by underscores. Does it not? Okay. They've added that in there. I have not seen that before where it says it like that. Okay, so total number is just 5. I'm not sure. What is the total number of sent ICMP packets? Are they asking us to go here and actually look at how many were sent? Is that what we're trying to find here? We can try the 15, but I don't think that's right. Yeah, because the right here is the 15. Okay, guys, welcome back. So sorry that took so long, but I was confused by the question because I thought it was supposed to be in that log, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I don't see where it's giving the option. But then if you read, and it does say view surrounding documents. So I did view surrounding documents, and you can see there is one. You don't have to even view them, just searching for it. The one right here, which is 2 above the actual one, does show all the actual sending of it, right? And you can see if you count them, there is 21. So there is 21 total number sent, right? So it took me a while, but I got there. And I'm sure there's another way to do it, but I was just following what they were saying, and I don't use Elk or Elastic, so I'm always rusty in here. What is the name of the exfiltrated document? So let's look in here, and I don't know if it's actually in there. This is where we might have to actually view the surrounding documents. Let's see if it's actually in here, though. Yeah, I think we'll have to review the surrounding documents because I think it's going to be the one after this. There you go. Chrome profile database, which is, again, where our logs are stored. Hopefully this works. I know. Okay, it did work. Last time it was a little weird. What is the server's IP address where the exfiltrated document is sent? Well, right there. It also says defanged. I don't know if in the log there's HTTPS or something. I'm not sure. Oh boy. It's adding all this stuff. Okay, so maybe that's not the right one. Let's see what it says. Should remember the script that created the network activity. Also cyber. Oh, so they actually want it fully defanged, which I don't know why I for some reason didn't think so. So if you don't know what defanging is, it's just making it so like if it was a link or something, it can't be clicked. There it is, defang IP. There you go. I understand sort of why they want it here like that, but there you go. Okay, so now we're moving on to the last tactic, which is impact. So we did the collection, the exfil. Let's do the impact. So impact, also known as TA0040, is a set of techniques used or could be used by adversaries to disrupt availability. Thank you. Ransomware, file destruction, removal, data manipulation, right? So we're actually impacting the company at this point. So defacement, service destruction, all these things, right? So what we're looking for is data disruption and manipulation. So an example of this might be, hey, I got into your system and I changed the bank account information to send money to me versus to you, right? You're obviously disrupting the data, but you're manipulating it. Okay, so this mini scenario is hunting shadow backup removal. So they're removing backups, right? Shadow copy backups, it looks like. And system recovery points. So that way, if they do send ransomware, you can't back up all your stuff, or you can't restore from backups, excuse me. So now we got to make sure before we do anything, because I did this before, is change this to impact. Okay. And now what we're looking for is VSS shadow copies, all that stuff. What those are is backup restore points. So you're looking for a restore point in a system, right? That's what you're doing. Why are we looking for that? Because what they're looking for is something that manipulated it. So you search that. Okay, looks like we had 64 hits here. We got 64 hits. Perfect. Okay, so results are challenging to gain insight into. Let's visualize by log source and decide where to focus first. So we're going to look at WinLog channel, add that bad boy, and we can see these are the log sources, right? Sysmon, operational, security, blah, blah. So where do you think we should focus? And you can see they're going to do it by table format. So they're doing it in the library. So we're going to go to, where is it? Visualize library. And you can see here, you have all these different links, blah, blah, all that crap. We can create one if we want. But what we're doing is we're going to be looking for this, basically the exact same thing, which is this right here. We're going to put it in the visualize library. And it's just a way to showcase the data differently. That's literally all it is. So we'll say lens. We'll search, update, and we'll start to see data come in. But and I think it's WinLog channel, right? Filter by type is records. So they added the WinLog channel security filter. I just want the WinLog channel, not the WinLog channel name or whatever. We'll just do keyword for now. We'll drag that over. Let it load. It'll give you a visualization. There's your Microsoft PowerShell operator. We've got 3,000 records of that. Security, you got 11. Windows PowerShell, you got 5. And Microsoft Windows Sysmon Operational, you got 2. Okay. Slightly different than the way they did it. They did it in a table, so we can just take this, say table. There you go. And you can see they have the slightly different. My guess is this didn't update. Let's try and refresh it. Not sure why it's showing 3,000 events, but okay. Delete, remove, VSS admin. I should have everything the same. The filter. I thought they had a filter on there, but I guess not. Okay, so we're going to do it the way they wanted to do it and see what the difference is here. Because there's something different, and I want to see what it is. So here's our search. We just add the WinLog. I think what it is just that name. So if you look, WinLog channel here. So if you go here, click on this, and go to visualize. I was trying to show you guys how to build it, but apparently that WinLog channel isn't popping up correctly. It was only showing the WinLog channel keyword, which was adding those extra ones, I think. Or I could have missed something else, but there's our table. 3818 should match exactly 3818. Okay. So now as we're looking for system native tools, the security log could provide the low-hanging fruit, right? Let's return to our main filter and add the security log as a log source. Okay, so one thing, I think that's kind of wild that they did it that way. Like, you didn't need all that, but okay. So we'll go back. I think that was a bit much, but all right. So we can go to add filter, select a field, and we want the, what was it called? WinLog channel. Oops, WinLog channel. I want that WinLog channel to be security is, and we want security. And now we should see a filter. We should see that 64 go down. Yep, 5. There's your 5 hits. Okay. And we want to add the WinLog event data command line. We want to see what the command line is. Okay, so that was a really long way of doing something that was kind of simplistic. I don't know why they had you go visualize it to come back. I mean, I kind of do just to showcase it, but you could just scroll through 64 and see it really fast, which one you want to look at. Okay, so you got bcedit.exe, boot status policy, ignore all features, recovery, enable, no, delete shadows. There you go. The VSS admin, they're deleting the VSS admin shadows. Now, one thing I want to talk about is, again, knowing your environment. Why? Because there's many people that delete VSS shadow copies if they're created. Why? For one, they can eat up a lot of space. Sentinel-1 is an example of a EDR tool that uses VSS shadow copies to restore points, right? Well, if you have a server that can't handle that much space, or it's already on the brink, right? You're not going to do that, so you need to delete them. So just know that. Okay, it's blurred out, so that means it's going to be a question. What is the name? VSSadmin.exe. What's the main shell image? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so the time field can help us highlight the first command executed. However, we still need to identify the actual starting point of the action. Let's focus on the first suspicious event by filtering. Okay, so we want to filter the first thing with the process ID. So what we're looking for is this first process ID. Even though there's only 5, you really don't need to go search for the first step when it's there, but I get it. Delete shadows all quiet. Okay, so the first process ID is the command. Okay. And then it asks us, what is the main, oh, here we go. Update the column filters to increase visibility. Okay, so we want data command line. We have that. We want parent process name. That's the wrong one. That was process ID, so we can get rid of that. Oh, they did want parent process ID, excuse me. So parent process name. So we want winlog, parent process name. Okay. Then we want process ID. Where is process ID? There's process GUID. Winlog event data. Process ID. Where is it at? Is it up here? Yep, there it is. Okay. What else they need? Parent process ID. Okay. What else they got? Parent image. Okay. There's parent image. There you go. Okay. So now we've kind of got everything we need. Do that. Thank you. Okay. So we're down to 2, right? And we can scroll over and see there. Okay. And looks like they actually have more than that. So win event log data process ID 1972. Let's get rid of this filter. Try it now. There you go. There's your filter. And there's your PowerShell.exe. So it was the main shell image that started the attack chain. PowerShell.exe was the process ID that started the attack chain. Well, looks like this is the parent process ID, so it's got to be 6512. If not, it's the other one. Depends on how they're classifying, but there you go. So what did we find? We found someone's deleting shadow copies. What does that mean? That means somebody's trying to delete your backup restore points so that when they hit you with the ransomware, boom, they've got you. Now, why would we search for that? Because if you know it's not normal in your environment for someone to do that, and you see people doing it, you might be like, why am I doing that? Why is someone doing that, right? And those are the type of attacks where if you have the technique, which is in MITRE, then you can search for them and say, ooh, this isn't normal. Let me take a look. Maybe I need to kick somebody out of here, and maybe I need to actually remediate the issue. So we covered collection, exfil, and impact. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully this helps you guys learn how threat hunts are supposed to be kind of done. And the reality is threat hunts are supposed to be more methodical, not just spray and pray. Not saying that's what they did here, but you didn't plan this, right? You should be planning it based on intel. And in this case, their intel suggested that maybe there's an attacker in there that using those tactics. I try to put tactics and techniques together there. Tactics together, and they're trying to do something. Well, we followed it the whole way, right? We started with they collected a keylogger, which then probably gave them, or then they exfilled the user credentials, and then someone was deleting the shadow copies. So what's next? Probably the ransomware. Probably, right? But hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys learned something. Thanks, guys.